Jungkook suddenly hugs Jimin emotionally after his secret meeting with Bang Si Hyuk. Why was Jim crying at the time? What really happened behind the scenes that made Jungkook give a hug full of sadness? Is Jungkook's imminent military service a source of tension? And why did Jimin even deliver a speech that hurt ARMY when it should have been a happy moment to welcome Jungkook's return? Did Jungkook's closeness with Taeil trigger this drama? All these questions shook the hearts of the ARMY and caused an unexpected wave of controversy. Check out an emotional story that will reveal the hidden facts behind that hug. A rarely seen scene occurs amid the uproar of the K-pop entertainment world that is always full of color and dynamics. Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, unexpectedly immediately hugged Jimin with warmth and sadness. The hug was not an ordinary hug. There was a weight drawn in Jungkook's eyes that made everyone who witnessed the moment feel choked with emotion. What really happened after their second meeting with Bang Si Hyuk, a figure who has been known as the mastermind behind BTS's success? Jimin, who is usually cheerful and full of energy, was seen shedding tears. Tears that make many people wonder, is there something bigger and more complicated than just a business or managerial meeting? Is this a sign of a major change in the dynamics of this already family-like group? Meanwhile, the ARMY, which had been loyal and full of hope, was surprised by Jimin's attitude, who did not give a warm welcome to Jungkook, who was reportedly about to end his military service. In fact, Jimin's remarks are considered to hurt the feelings of many fans, sparking wild speculation and deep feelings of disappointment. Is there really a rift between them? Does this conflict have anything to do with Taeil, who has recently grown closer to Jungkook and is considered by some fans to be a trigger for tension? Everything is like pieces of a puzzle that have not yet been revealed. But why did such a feeling of sadness and such a meaningful embrace appear suddenly? Was there unspoken pressure on the part of the management, or maybe an internal conflict that had been hidden from the public all this time? Or is it just a way to deal with an uncertain future? Bang Si Hyuk, a highly respected figure and sometimes considered the second father of BTS, is also in the spotlight. What was discussed at the meeting? Are big decisions about the future of BTS and Jungkook being prepared behind closed doors? And is it this meeting that is the background of those sad facial expressions and warm hugs? Jungkook's reaction to hugging Jimin with warmth and sadness implies more than just a sense of ordinary longing or friendship. There is a heavy feeling that wants to be conveyed without having to say it. Is the hug a form of support and consolation in the midst of the coming storm? Or is it a symbol of unwanted separation? Jimin, who is seen crying, was also the main highlight. What made him so emotional? Is the pressure from rumors, criticism, or even the uncertainty of the group's future? Or is there a personal conflict that has never been revealed before? ARMY and loyal BTS fans around the world couldn't help their curiosity, trying to figure out the meaning behind Jimin's sad look and tears. Meanwhile, there was also controversy about how Jimin said words that fans considered hurtful to Jungkook. How is it possible that, in what should be a moment of happiness and warmth, cold feelings and piercing words appear instead? What is really behind Jimin's attitude? Is this a sign of long-simmered tension, or just an enlarged misunderstanding? The news that Jungkook will soon complete his mandatory military service should be good news for the ARMY. However, the reality is quite the opposite. There was a strange and awkward atmosphere that made the fans feel uncomfortable. Is this a conspiracy? Or are there other stresses that affect the relationship of the three of them? Taeil getting closer to Jungkook is often cited as the main factor that triggered the rift. Is that so? Or are these just baseless rumors? Over time, more and more small clues emerge from their various interactions and statements that are increasingly difficult to interpret. What is Bang Si Hyuk's attitude towards this situation? Is he trying to reconcile, or is it precisely being part of the pressure that is causing that tension? Industry watchers and fans alike began to wonder, is it time for BTS to face the toughest test in their history? Every gesture, look, and facial expression of Jungkook, Jimin, and Taeil is now the subject of analysis and debate. Emotions are stored so deeply, creating an atmosphere full of mystery and hope, as well as fear of the future is not yet clear. The moment of the hug became a symbol of unspoken hopes and sorrows, touching the hearts of millions of people who loved them. With all the question marks that arise, one thing is certain: this story is not over. The hug was not just a momentary moment, but the beginning of a long story that will continue to roll and shake the world of K-pop. Will BTS remain intact? How will Jungkook, Jimin, and Taeil weather the storm? And most importantly, will the ARMY still stand by their side, going through all the drama and tears together? The answers to all these questions are still hidden behind the smiles and tears they show. But one thing is clear: the emotion that poured out of the embrace was a universal language that did not need to be translated, a message that touched the souls of all who witnessed it. If you're a BTS fan, how do you feel seeing this emotional moment? Is this a sign of separation? Or is it precisely the beginning of a new chapter full of hope? Do not miss the latest updates, because this story will still continue, full of surprises that will stir the feelings of all of us. After that hug, the world seemed to stop for a moment. Imagine Jungkook, who had been known as a cheerful figure, full of energy, suddenly turned into a very quiet. His eyes radiated a fatigue that was difficult to express in words. On the other hand, Jimin, who has always appeared full of enthusiasm and a warm smile, this time it looks fragile and melancholy. An empty gaze that occasionally flashes with tears makes anyone who sees it feel such a deep pain. What could have happened between the two of them to make this moment so full of meaning? Is it true that the meeting with Bang Si Hyuk contains a heavy message that affects the state of their hearts? Bang Si Hyuk, known by the nickname Producer Hybe, a figure who has been believed to be an anchor for BTS, now seems to be bringing news that is not easy to digest. Sources close to them said the meeting was not just a business affair. There's a big decision to be made. Some rumors began circulating that Jungkook's future in the group might undergo significant changes, something that has never happened in BTS history. His contract, role, and even his mandatory military service are reportedly crucial points of the talks. Meanwhile, Jimin, who had been known as a figure who was always supportive, suddenly showed another side that was rarely seen. The tears that fell seemed to overflow all the burdens that had been penned up. But strangely, after the meeting, Jimin actually gave a cold speech. Even for some fans, it was painful for Jungkook and also the ARMY who always supported them. How could someone who had been so close suddenly turn out to be so far away? Some say this problem cannot be separated from Taeil's role. Taeil and Jungkook, who have been getting closer lately, are considered by some fans to be one of the sources of tension in the relationship between the members. The closeness of their relationship gave rise to various speculations, ranging from jealousy to conflicts that have been hidden from the public. Jimin, who has been trying to maintain balance all this time, may feel marginalized. Is this the reason behind Jungkook's sad look and full embrace to Jimin? Jungkook's sudden reaction to hugging Jimin is not just a form of longing or friendship. There was an implied message that the deep hug was Jungkook's way of saying, "I'm still here. I understand your pain." But is this hug also an apology, or is it a sign of farewell? The moment touched the hearts of the ARMY around the world, making them feel the inner conflict that their idols were facing. Fans who usually eagerly welcomed Jungkook's return from his mandatory military service are now confused by Jimin's attitude. There was no warm welcome or happy words from Jimin. Instead, there were words that pierced the hearts of the fans. Some even feel betrayed, wondering if this split will affect the future of BTS, who have been considered a big family. Anger and confusion began to spread among the ARMY. They wonder, is the breakup they have been afraid of starting to happen? Did Jungkook and Jimin really have a serious conflict? Or could it be that this is just a difficult phase that they can go through together? These questions hang without a definitive answer, leaving the hearts of the fans agitated and full of question marks. Meanwhile, Taeil, who is usually full of charisma and warmth, is seen starting to spend more time with Jungkook. The two's increasingly close relationship sparked controversy. Is Taeil a source of division or a protector in the midst of a storm? His more frequent public appearances with Jungkook made Jimin even more alienated. But what exactly happens behind the scenes? Are there any secrets that have not yet been revealed? What made the three of them have to face this difficult time? Amid all the speculation and drama, one thing is certain: the meeting with Bang Si Hyuk brought great influence. The figure who has been the foundation of BTS's career and life seems to be at a crossroads that determines the future of the group. After that hug, Jungkook and Jimin's world is no longer the same. It's as if time slows down and everything feels empty. But the shadow of the meeting with Bang Si Hyuk continues to haunt their minds. Something heavy, something they never talked about openly, is now a burden they can't bear alone. Jungkook, who used to be strong and full of confidence, now reveals another side, doubt and fear. As the army eagerly awaited the return of his idol, Jungkook seemed agitated, staring blankly without direction. Meanwhile, Jimin, who had been a warm light in the group, began to keep secrets that made him even more secretive. His eyes were full of hurt, as if he wanted to say something but didn't dare. Meanwhile, Taeil, who used to be a stickler, is now seen avoiding Jimin more and more. The relationship between the three begins to crack. Even for small things that used to be ordinary now turn into quarrels. Sources very close to them say that this tension has been going on for the past few weeks. Even the army, who can usually read their body language in recent videos and photos, felt a change. A smile that used to look sincere now often seems forced. Interactions between members who used to be warm are now often colored by silence and tension that cannot be hidden. The biggest question is, are rumors about contracts and military problems really the main culprits? Or is there something much deeper, which has been hidden from the public? Some fans are starting to guess. Does Jimin feel left out by Jungkook and Taeil getting closer? Was there jealousy that triggered the split? Not only that, the news came that Bang Si Hyuk gave a heavy ultimatum. If you want to keep the group intact, there are difficult decisions to make, whether it's role adjustments, changes in position within the group, or even career breaks for some members. These choices create heightened tensions and threaten BTS's future. That night, in the rehearsal room, which was usually filled with laughter and enthusiasm, there was only piercing silence. Jungkook and Jimin met again, gazes fighting each other, unspoken words filling the room. Behind the door, Taeil waits with a heart full of doubt, wondering if their friendship can last. In such a difficult situation, the army can only hope and pray. They want to look back on those wonderful moments when the three laughed together, shared dreams and hopes. But reality is sometimes not as beautiful as hope. Can BTS survive the storm? Or will the split be the end of an era beloved by millions of hearts? Time will answer everything. But one thing is for sure, this story teaches us that behind the glitter of the stage and the glare of the cameras, there are wounds and struggles that are often hidden. Jungkook, Jimin, and Taeil are struggling, not just for the sake of a career, but for the sake of a friendship that might become history. Will they find their way back? Or will this story end with a hard-to-heal wound? We can only wait and keep supporting, because true love never knows the word surrender.